get service. Oh, we just wrapped up on the floor here at the SSA in San Antonio. Tyson Huebner's with me with Yardi Matrix. You're talking to a lot of people here, Tyson. You guys just dropped the Yardi Matrix storage report for February and March. Where would you like to start?
Well, I mean, self-storage is always a great industry to be in. A lot of good friends here and clients, prospects, and I think it's been a productive show, but everybody's kind of dealing with a lot of uncertainty. I think performance has been a little bit slower the last 6 months than it was at the beginning of last year, and we've started to see that in our monthly report data. The monthly report we just released showed rates were down 1.1% or 1.2% in February, which is a decline from some advertised rate gains at the end of 2025. So I think everybody's kind of wondering what's going on and when things are going to start to show signs of a recovery again.
Do you think as we head into the spring, obviously more people typically move? Do you think that's going to move the needle? Or
yeah, and I think last year people started pushing rates a lot earlier on in the year, and we just haven't seen the demand the last 6 months. If you looked at the REIT's quarterly reports from Q3 and Q4, move-ins, move-outs were pretty disappointing. Occupancy continues to kind of come down slowly. So that hasn't been a lot of sign of a turnaround in demand, which is giving people confidence to start pushing rates again. I do think that it's only a matter of time before people start moving again. I have a presentation today here at the conference with a lot of interesting connections between migration patterns, home sales, and occupancy. And I think once that part of the economy starts turning again, that we'll finally start to see things return more to normal. We'll see more of a focus on those advertised rates because those are the customers that are going to be moving in and replacing those long-term customers.
What's it going to take to get the demand to go back up?
Well, I was just talking with a gentleman, and he says, he thinks once mortgage rates hit 5 3/4 that people will start to move again. And I think once you start to see people move again and you start to see occupancy flatten and even improve, I think that's what will drive asking rates.
Talk to us about the conversations you've been having here, whether on the floor or throughout the conference. I know you're doing a lot of one-on-one meetings. Don't give any names, but what's been a couple of very interesting conversations that you've had?
Well, obviously there was a very big deal announced at the beginning of this week that everybody wants to talk about. And I think it's kind of it's a trend that's been happening for years. A lot more consolidation in the sector, and everybody's kind of focused on what the REITs are doing, not just from an acquisition standpoint, from an operations standpoint. And I think the sector is just becoming more and more consolidated. So a lot of people ask me, especially smaller companies and investors, they ask me, where should they be investing, where should they be developing, and I kind of say, look where other people aren't. And go to markets that are maybe underappreciated, because those are the places where you can kind of choose your own destiny and you don't have to kind of follow the crowd.
So you're a research guy. I would love to know your thesis on what you see Public Storage doing with their basically JV with Welltower. I mean, very data driven. Now you've got obviously the acquisition with NSA. Just give us your thesis and what you think Public is moving towards and what they're up to.
Well, it's hard to know. I think everybody's asking that question. They always are striving to kind of drive the market. And recently that drive has been, through using lower asking rates and driving ECRIs. But again, I think that really has been a strategy that's been related to the decline in demand. And once we start to see demand pick back up, I think operations are going to return more to normal. So it is hard to compete with the large companies, but I do think there's a lot of different ways you can kind of differentiate yourself. Have a diversified portfolio. Look at undersupplied trade areas and markets, and underpriced trade areas and markets for opportunities, because that's where you can really have a unique strategy.
Tyson, always good stuff. Want to give you the last word? Anything else you want to add or share, my friend?
No, just keep chugging along. And I think the quote I came up with last night was people were saying stay alive till 25, and I don't know what they said for 26, but I think in 27 we'll be in heaven.
You heard it here first, folks. That's Tyson Huebner with Yardi Matrix. In 27 we'll be in heaven. I love it. Thank you for joining us.